So this evening we are going to start off working through the hips with a fascial maneuver that looks completely ridiculous but is absolutely amazing. And we'll start off on our backs. So when you're ready, please make your way onto your back and start by just hugging the knees in toward the chest. You might want to lift the head up toward that space between the knees to just decompress through the mid-back. And now dropping the feet toward the floor and just taking a couple of gentle windscreen wipes of the knees from side to side. Now, this particular maneuver is really great for any tension in the IT band, which is essentially just a really super thick layer of predictable fascia, and I'm finding that it is really great also for the sacroiliac joint and the glutes and lower back. So here we go. We'll bring the knees in toward the chest, and now please cross your right ankle over your left, and we're going to bring the hands around to take hold of the lower legs just close to the ankles, and depending on your proportions, you might grab along the outside of the knees or you might take the inside of the legs. But the important part is to just get a really firm grasp of the lower legs and try, if you can, to access the skin so that you're actually pulling the skin away from the ankle sort of toward your face, and open up the knees a little bit wider. And now please pick your head up and tuck your chin in really deliberately toward your chest. I'm going to keep my chin lifted so that my voice doesn't muffle my microphone, but I'm going to ask you to tuck your chin in toward your chest, knees nice and wide, and we're hugging the knees in toward the shoulders, chin tucked to protect the neck. And now please turn your head to the right and keep the chin just tucking down toward that right shoulder. And we're going to take 5 breaths in and out through the mouth to drive the force, for lack of a better word, into the diaphragm and the pelvic floor. So here we go. Big breath in through the mouth and out. And again. And again. 2 more. Good. Keep the head lifting. Keep hugging the knees towards you. And now take 5 breaths in and out through the nose. Good. 3 more. Good. And now letting that go, taking the legs out long and just noticing whatever there is for you to notice. You might feel that the right hip is now sitting a little bit lower than the left. And now we'll move into the opposite side. So again, bringing the knees in toward the chest, crossing your left ankle now over the top of your right, reaching your hands around to get a really nice firm grip of the lower leg, sort of close to the ankles, and just pull the skin up toward you. And now lifting your head up, keep the knees wide, hugging the legs in toward you, and we'll tuck the chin down low to protect the neck and turn your head to the left. Now 5 slow breaths in and out through the mouth, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now 5 breaths through the nose. 1, keep the head lifting. 2, keep hugging the knees in towards you. 3, 4, and 5. Letting that go now. Coming to rebound, just taking the legs out long and having a little feel into the hips and the pelvis. Good. Now, whilst we're down here, we'll rebend the knees and just plant the feet into the mat. And we're going to do some lovely spinal waves with the breath in and out of Setu Bandhasan. So on an inhale, please reach the arms slowly back behind your head. And then pause here on an exhale, really splaying and spreading into the fingers and enlivening the arms. On an inhale, we'll pick up the pelvis, lifting the tailbone toward the ceiling, and then pause here on the exhale. Gently press your head against the earth. Stay here for an inhale, lift the hips a bit higher, and as you exhale, come down slow. Upper back, middle back, lower back, top of the pelvis, sacrum, and to the earth. Good. On an exhale, we'll bring the arms back down. Inhale, taking the arms back behind the head, spreading and splaying the fingers. Stay here for the exhale, rooting down through the arms. And as you inhale now, we'll lift the tailbone, sacrum, lower back, middle back, upper back. Stop at the top here. Exhale, press down through the back of the head, the hands and the arms. Stay here for an inhale, lifting the hips a little bit higher, and exhale, lowering upper back, middle back, lower back, sacrum, and down to the tailbone. And when you're ready, bringing the arms back down alongside the body and making your way gently to an upright seat. Again, giving the knees a gentle windscreen wipe one way, then the other. All right. And we're coming to stand next. Moving into a maneuver for the thoracic spine. This is one of my favorites if I've been doing a lot of desk work or if I'm feeling locked up in my thoracic spine. We'll take the right hand onto the left deltoid. Now, if you can, slide that right hand underneath your shirt so that you can get a handful of your skin. And then take your left hand onto the back of your neck and again, pick up the flesh there as much as you can. And now we'll start by drawing the elbows nice and close together and draw the navel in toward the spine. On an inhale, lift the ribs, feeling long in the lower back. And as you exhale, we're twisting the elbows over to the right. And just pause at the point where you start to have a little conversation with the fascia in the thoracic spine and the rib cage. If your left hip bone has moved forward, just send it back in space a little bit, keeping the breath moving slowly and smoothly through the nose. Now, if that conversation has started to die down, you can start to bend the knees and tip the elbows down toward the outside of your right hip. And then again, stop at the point where you're having that conversation, where you can feel that work, and hold there and breathe. Keep the elbows squeezing together. And if that conversation's died down, with soft knees, you can start to drop the elbows closer toward the outside of the right knee. Now, you need to let your knees bend to allow your spine to round. Again, stop at the point where you're having that conversation, holding there and breathe. And to come out, we root down through the feet and slowly come out the way we moved into it, just tracing an arc in space with the elbow points. And then let the arms come down to rest and take a moment here just to feel into it. Moving into the other side now, left hand onto the right deltoid. If you can, slide that hand under the t-shirt, get a nice firm grip of the flesh. The right hand is going to pick up the flesh of the back of the neck. Squeeze the elbows together. Inhale, lift the rib cage up. And as you exhale, we're twisting the elbow points to the left. Stop at the point where your body starts to talk to you. Hold it there and breathe slowly and smoothly. If your right hip has traveled forward in space, just send it back a little bit. Keep the elbows moving to the left. And if that conversation has started to die down, you can begin to soften the knees and tip the elbows toward the outside of the left hip. Stopping at the point where you feel it in your body, holding there and breathing. Let the knees bend generously so that you can round the upper back. Keep the elbows squeezing together. And if that conversation started to quieten down, you can begin to tip the elbows lower down toward the outside of the left knee, letting the knees bend so you can move the spine. And keeping the breath moving and the elbows squeezing together. And to come out, root down through the feet on an inhale. Just trace a nice arc in space with the elbow, so you're coming out the way you moved into it. And then we'll release the arms down to the side. Just take a little curious feel into the body. Good. One more fascial maneuver. This one is for the neck and also for the hips and pelvis. Now, to begin with, I'll ask you just to take a bit of a squat. And if you're feeling vulnerable in your squat, you can grab 1 or 2 blocks if you've got them on hand, or even your bolster, so that you've got something to land on. Okay, and if squatting is not your thing for whatever reason, you can just take a generous bend in the knees when we get there. We're going to take the thumbs and wedge them inside your ear holes. Yes, I said ear holes. Wedge your thumbs inside your ear holes and take the other 8 fingers and wrap them around the outside of your ears. Now, we're going to give the ears quite a firm pull. Tug them out. Don't worry, your ears are firmly attached. You will be fine. Good. Now hold that there and breathe. And you might even start to twist the ears down toward the floor. Good. Hold that there and keep breathing, please. We're pulling the ears out and twisting them down. Stay with this and breathe. Trust the process. Good. And now just relinquish the twist. Maybe reaffirm the position of the thumbs inside your ear holes. And now we're going to pull the ears out and twist them back. All right. And now keep your breath moving as you just drop down, nice and slow. You might arrive in quite a full squat. You might just land the sit bones there on the blocks if that's better for you. Keep pulling and twisting the ears, and now we'll release the ears. Good. And we'll take the left hand just down toward the floor, reaching the right arm up. Stay here. Take an inhale, lean the heart back. And as you exhale, we're tucking and rounding. Invite the elbows to arrive on the insides of the knees. Tuck the chin down close to the chest and find an interlace of hands and fingers at the back of the head. And from here, please begin to push your head quite deliberately against the contact of your hands. So your hands are just catching that movement. Chin tucks in toward the chest. Head presses in toward the hands. Upper back is really rounded. Gently release the head and take the right hand toward the floor. Reach the left arm up. Pausing here. And on an inhale, leaning the chest back. And as you exhale, we'll tuck back in. Again, drop the chin nice and low toward the chest. Land the hands at the back of the head. Maybe the elbows on the insides of the knees. And now from this super tucked and rounded position, please begin to, again, push your head gently against the contact of your hands. Keeping the breath moving. And hold. And hold. And hold. And gently release the head. Good. Now, if you've got those blocks underneath your sit bones, we'll pop them out of the way. Good. And come to land, please, in Dandasana, in staff pose. We're going to bend the left knee and bring the left foot over to the right side of the right leg, leaving that right leg out long. Please bring your left elbow to hook the inside of the left knee. So we're moving open-bellied in the twist first. Fingertips of the right hand land gently on the floor behind you. Try not to lean any weight into that right hand if you can. And as you inhale, find a high, bright seat up on the sit bones. And exhale, take a twist to the right. Working the left elbow against the inside of the left knee to create a little bit of internal leverage. Of course, keeping that breath moving slowly and smoothly. And I know I've not mentioned it yet, but please keep the tongue gently resting flat up against the roof of the mouth. Now that we've been here for a few cycles of breath, you might invite yourself to sit a little bit taller on an inhale and take the rotation a little bit further on the exhale. And now on an inhale, we'll return just the head back to center. And as you exhale, unhook the left elbow. Leave the legs as they are. We're picking up the left shin in the crook of the right elbow now. Fingertips of the left hand land on the floor, just gently behind you, or you can bring that arm in to bind. On the inhale, sitting tall, and as you exhale, we're twisting to the left. Just gently dropping the eye gaze down toward that left shoulder here. And now begin to tip your left ear down toward your left shoulder as you lift and shine the right corner of the jawbone up toward the ceiling. And this is creating a very specific alignment of the 3 vertebrae in the neck that tend to be really misaligned in our very forward-oriented, device-driven lives. And when you're ready, we'll release the head, just the head. Good. And now turn your head just a few degrees to the right, please. It's not enough to create any muscular strain. It's just enough so that we feel chest and shoulders are rotating one way and the head is rotating the other way. And now leaving your head very still, lift your eye gaze up and to the left, just finding a landmark in the room that you can comfortably land your eyes on and holding there and breathing slowly. You are so welcome and encouraged to invoke your Ujjayi breath. Hold and hold and hold. Good. Release just the eyes now. Release the chest and shoulders. Good. The legs stay as they are. Fingertips now land on the floor next to the right hip. And we're going to bow the head and the shoulders forward. Let your left sit bone lift up away from the floor. And then once you've landed, reattach, reroute the left sit bone down, keeping the head and shoulders drooping forward nice and heavy. In this particular position, you can probably feel is a really good one for targeting that 4-cornered muscle that connects the top of your pelvis to the lower back, to the bottom of your rib cage. Maybe let the head drop a little bit heavier. Maybe anchor the left sit bone down a little bit more decisively. And now we'll slowly come back to sit up tall. Good. And reset in your Dandasana for a moment. Good. When you're ready, please, we'll bend both knees. We'll come back to do that sequence on the other side, but before we do, please just line up the back of your wrists with your buttocks. And now lift up onto the tips of your middle fingers. Spin the palms of your hands to face the back of the mat and then drop down onto the palms. Press into the hands to straighten the elbows and beam the chest toward the knees, keeping the shoulder blades drawing together. Let the chin just drop down as you look at the space between the knees. And if this feels like it's enough, stay here. If you'd like a little bit more spice, we'll take it into the fascia across the front of the chest and the front of the arms by creating a feeling as though you are attempting to drag your sit bones and your fingertips towards each other. Now the sticky mat will just catch that movement, but still attempting to drag sit bones and fingers towards each other, keeping the breath moving, tongue resting against the roof of the mouth. And gently letting go of that work, rise back up onto the tips of the middle fingers. Please drop the back of your hands down onto the floor now and gently press the backs of the hands down. And if you want a little bit more spice, send those shoulder heads back behind the ears. All right, letting that go, giving the wrists a bit of a shake and coming back into your Dandasana. When you're ready, please, we'll bend the right knee. Bring the right foot over, landing it on the left side of the left leg. And fingertips of the left hand landing on the floor, stop sign the right arm and bring the elbow to rest on the inside of the knee. Stay here, taking an inhale to sit tall. And as you exhale, we're turning to the left. Just allowing the eye gaze to drop down in the direction of the left shoulder and exploring that relationship here between the bent right elbow and the bent right knee. pressing those points against each other to access that internal leverage. And now that we've been here for a few breaths, you might inhale to sit a bit taller and exhale to take the rotation a little bit deeper. Tongue against the roof of the mouth, breath moving smoothly. And as you inhale, releasing just the head, exhale, unhook the elbow. And now bring the left arm around to cradle the right shin, hugging the knee in toward you. Fingertips of the right hand land lightly on the floor, or bring the arm in to bind. As you inhale, sit tall, and exhale, turning to the right, letting the eye gaze just drop down toward the right shoulder. Long, smooth breaths here. Begin to tilt your right earlobe down toward the right shoulder as you lift and shine the left corner of the jawbone up toward the ceiling. Holding there and breathe. And now gently releasing just the head back to center. Turning your head just a few degrees to the left. And keeping your head still, taking your eye gaze up and to the right. Finding a landmark that you can rest your gaze on. Holding the eyes there steady as you breathe. Good. And releasing the eyes, release the head, release the chest and shoulders, bring the fingertips to land next to the left hip and take a nice, deep, humble bow forward. Allow the right sit bone to lift away from the earth. And as you arrive, once you feel settled, taking that right sit bone and plugging it back down into the mat. Let the head hang, let the shoulders feel heavy. Deep breaths, but slow breaths. Maybe let the head drop a little bit lower, let it feel heavier. Re-anchor the right sit bone. And coming back to sit tall. Beautiful. Taking the legs back out long in front of you. Good. Now, at this stage, we'll take a Paschimottanasana. You might like to bend the knees quite generously, especially if you've got vulnerabilities in your lower back, or if you're feeling okay, just let yourself drape forward over the legs. Now, because this is a restorative class, I'll ask you not to attempt to grab your feet, but just let your arms rest nice and passively alongside the legs. And depending on your experience of this shape tonight, you might also allow your head just to fall down toward the shins. It's nice to prop this shape, if you like, with a blanket or a cushion or something between your shins and your forehead. Even a block can be nice. But just letting it be nice and passive as you bring attention into the sacrum, into the back of the pelvis, letting the lower back just widen and melt. Tongue rests against the roof of the mouth, breath moving smoothly and slowly. Good. Taking your time to sit tall and moving now into Virasana, hero's pose, or some derivation thereof. Now, my personal favorite, if you've got a bolster, is to just straddle the bolster. It's just such a comfortable way to arrive here. But if you don't have a bolster, you can pop 1 or 2 blocks between the ankles and just let the sit bones come down to rest there. Good. We're going to present the right arm just out in front of you and spin the wrist crease and the elbow crease to face the ceiling so that this right arm is already in external rotation. And then half the work is done as we lift the arm up and then bend the elbow. Bring your left hand to just make contact with the right elbow point and think about using that left hand to guide the right elbow back and then maybe guide it over to the left. Stay with the breath. All right. And now for a little bit of magic in this shape. We're going to turn the nose down toward the right armpit and hold it there and breathe. You might drop the chin a little bit lower. Head. Release the head back to center. We'll take both arms straight up above and now stop sign the arms and tip the elbows up toward the ceiling and letting the arms drop down. Moving into the other side, spin the left wrist and the left elbow crease to face the ceiling. Feeling like you're in full external rotation in that left arm. Then lift the arm up slowly, bend the elbow, and bring your right hand to rest on that elbow point. And feeling yourself here guiding the left elbow back, and then bringing it over to the right. Come back to land in your breath. We only ever want to take these postures to a place where there is a gentle, polite conversation in the body, not a screaming match. And of course, taking it to a point where we can maintain the breath. And now when you're ready, if you like, you can just spin your nose down toward the left armpit. It's a good opportunity to see if that antiperspirant of yours is worth the money that you pay for it. Holding here. You might drop the chin and the nose down a little bit lower. Stay with the breath. Good. And now gently release the angle of the head. Bring the head back to center. And we'll stop sign the arms and just spin the elbows forward. Beautiful. Letting that go. And just pause here and be present with the sensations in the arms, in the chest, in the neck. If you're familiar with your Jivha Bandha, this is a great opportunity to take that, sealing the tongue against the roof of the mouth, applying your own natural sucking or swallowing reflex, and then opening the jaw slowly. Maybe tip the chin up toward the ceiling as you hold your Jivha Bandha. Letting that go. Amazing. And popping the block out of the way. Time for some hip flexor love. We're going to stay down in a low lunge this evening. If you need a little bit of support for your knees, you can just pop a blanket between your knees and the floor, or even fold the mat over itself so you've got a little bit more cushioning. And we're going to take the right leg forward and just come to land in a lunge. You can keep the toes of the back foot tucked under. A lot of people find that that helps them to feel a little bit more balanced. And for now, just let the hips sink, let everything feel heavy, and start to plug down into your right foot. Good. And now lean the chest back and drop the chin down toward the chest. So you're looking at the inside of your right knee. And we're going to just take the hands onto the rib cage and actively guide the ribs to knit together as you lean the chest back and drop the chin low. Just stay here and breathe, keeping a solid footprint in that right foot, keeping the ribs knitting back toward the spine, leaning the chest and shoulders back, dropping the chin down low. And we'll take the fingertips onto the floor now, just alongside the right foot. Tuck the toes of the left foot under, and on an exhale, send your sit bones back toward your left heel. Good. Now in this shape, I like to take the left hand just next to the right foot, the right hand just next to the right hip. So I've distributed the weight nicely across all of the limbs. And now for the magic, please plantar flex your right ankle. So we're pointing the toes, and then keep the ankle plantar flexed as you peel just the toes back toward your face. Plug that right heel down into the sticky mat and create a pistoning or scissoring action in the hips and legs by trying to drag the right foot toward your face, trying to slide the left knee toward the top of the mat. The sticky mat will stop you from moving. It's an action rather than a movement. And you might just allow the head and shoulders to travel a bit closer to the earth. Keep that right heel plugging down, right leg dragging in towards you, left knee dragging forward. Good, and letting that go. Good. Changing sides now. Please take the left leg forward and come to arrive in a little bit of a lazy, heavy lunge here. Good, now finding that very deliberate plug down into your left foot, and you might notice the muscles in the ankle, knee, and hip engage, and start to lean the chest back, drop the chin down, looking at the space on the inside of the left knee, taking the hands onto the rib cage and guiding the ribs to knit in, draw them back toward the spine, leaning the shoulders back, drop the chin low, holding and breathing, nice heavy footprint into the left foot. Breath and attention into that right hip flexor, which is the one in most of us that tends to be a little bit tighter, especially if you habitually cross your right leg over your left. And we'll take the fingers to land at either side of that front left foot. Now tuck the toes of the right foot under, and on an exhale, sink the sit bones back toward the heels. Start here by arranging the hands. So you might take the right hand, just land it on the inside of the left ankle, left hand to the outside of the left hip, and now plantar flex, point that left ankle, keeping it pointed, peeling just the toes back toward your face. And now find that action of digging the left heel down, dragging the left leg in as you slide the right knee forward, and maybe surrendering the head and chest down a little bit lower toward the earth. And hold. And gently release. Okay. So moving right along now, I'll invite you to pick up your block and just have it on its flattest setting. We're going to come to lie on the block. It can be really nice to pop a towel or a blanket over the block just to cushion it a little bit. Although if you've got one of those foam blocks, they tend to be a little bit less rigid than the cork one that I'm using. And we're going to just tuck the chin as we lower ourselves down. Now, everyone's proportions are really different, so you might need to just have a play with specifically where the block lands. We're looking for the block to land between the shoulder blades and just underneath that first really bony protrusion in the spine. So if you drop your chin down to your chest and reach one of your hands back, feel for that first really bony prominence in the spine. We want the block to be just under that, but between the shoulder blades. We'll cross the elbows in front of you to separate the shoulder blades, so that now when you allow the head to drop back, you've really created a nice gap for the block to sit in. And now take the arms, turning the palms of the hands to face the ceiling, and let the shoulder heads just feel heavy and drop down toward the floor. You might choose to bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees drop out to the side if that's where you want to go. And if that's not on the menu for you, you can just take the legs out long, but let the toes fall away from the heels. And now bringing your awareness into the contact point where the block is resting against the rib cage. Starting to slow the breath down. Stay here. And as you breathe, just mindful of how the ribs are making contact with the block as we settle into a really beautiful breathing pattern. Now, if you're experiencing discomfort with the position of the block or you're not loving the block, you can, of course, ditch it immediately. But we're going to come into a very soothing breath pattern that is specifically to mitigate vata dosha, which is very aggravated in the environment at the moment. You only need to look outside and see that wind to understand. So we're going to start when you're ready, breathing in a rhythm where you inhale for 4 counts, hold the breath for 5 counts, and exhale for 6 counts. It's as easy as 4, 5, 6. And I'll leave you with a little space and silence to explore that. But please just allow your mind to become anchored in the count. And stay present with the feeling of the ribs moving against the block, or maybe against the floor if you've shifted. And stay with this. If your mind wanders, gently and lovingly invite yourself back. Inhale for 4, hold for 5, exhale for 6. And at the end of your next exhale, letting go of that pattern of breath. Carefully remove the block from between your shoulder blades if it's still there, and come to land on your back in Shavasana. You might be enjoying that beautiful space that the block has now created in through the chest, through the mid-back. And in these last few minutes of our practice, the invitation is to send your attention up and down your spine with each inhale and each exhale. Please don't overthink this. Trust in the relationship between attention and prana. And simply wash your awareness up and down the spine with each in-breath and out-breath, until the sound of my voice summons you back. And at the end of your next exhalation, letting go of that pattern and becoming aware of the contact points of your body against the earth. Gently rotating into your wrists and ankles. And maybe swallowing to lubricate your throat. You might enjoy taking a lovely yawn and a stretch. And when you're ready, rolling onto your favorite side. Remaining there for a couple of moments. Try not to disturb the energy that you've created. When you're ready, very carefully, just curling your way to an upright seat. As you arrive in your seat, remaining for just a moment more with your eyes closed. Noticing how you have arrived here at the end of your practice, at the end of your day. You might like to float the palms to meet one another in front of your heart, or maybe just rest one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. As we end our session together, as always, with gratitude and acknowledgement, offering our thanks for the gift of this day, our lives and our health, and extending our respects and acknowledgements to one another and to the custodians of this living tradition. And as always, dear friends, my very sincere respect and gratitude to you all. Thank you so much for your company. I so welcome your feedback, your requests. Have a restful night. Lots of love. And I'll see you again next time. Mwah. Good night. Stay off the screens if you can.